It started as an ordinary late-night talk show appearance, but as Nicolas Cage stepped onto the stage of The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, there was already a strange intensity in the air. Cage, known for his eccentric energy and unpredictable charm, offered a curt nod to the audience before settling into the guest chair. Colbert tried opening with light banter, referencing Cage's recent surrealist film role, but Cage seemed unusually tense. His answers were clipped, and he often paused before speaking, as though weighing his words carefully. The host, the professional, adjusted smoothly, pivoting to a question about Cage's famed pyramid tomb in New Orleans. That, however, lit a fire under the actor. Cage launched into a bizarre monologue about death, legacy, and the illusion of permanence. In Hollywood, Colbert tried laughing it off, but Cage wasn't in the mood to be dismissed, and the tension in the studio sharpened palpably. Cage's tone grew sharper as he launched into a tirade against the entertainment industry, accusing talk shows of repackaging souls for ratings. Colbert, visibly surprised, attempted to lighten the moment by joking, "Sounds like you've got a screenplay there." That backfired. Cage leaned forward, eyes blazing, and asked Colbert if he'd ever lost a piece of his soul doing this job. The host chuckled awkwardly, saying something about keeping his dignity intact. Cage interrupted, "That's because you've never risked anything real." The audience, unsure whether this was performance or reality, stayed eerily silent. The cameras kept rolling. Producers watched nervously from behind the scenes. Colbert, clearly thrown, shifted again to safer ground, mentioning Cage's recent humanitarian work. But Cage wasn't done. "You don't care about that," he spat. "You want sound bites, I'm not your circus animal." As Cage continued, his voice rising, the studio's mood took a darker turn. He stood up mid-conversation, walked to the front of the stage, and addressed the audience directly. "How many of you know what it feels like to be edited into a meme? To have your worst moments on loop for strangers to mock?" The crowd offered no reply. Some people chuckled nervously, unsure if this was part of a bit. "That's what you all do," he shouted, pointing toward the cameras. Colbert, maintaining composure, stepped forward to try and de-escalate. "Nicolas, you know I respect your work. We're just here to celebrate it, not diminish it." But Cage wasn't listening. "You're all complicit," he said, gesturing around him. "This show, these lights, it's not entertainment. It's exploitation dressed as flattery." A low buzz passed through the audience. People weren't sure whether to applaud or leave. Security personnel moved discreetly closer to the stage as producers signaled for a commercial break. Colbert tried once more to regain control. "Okay, Nicolas. Maybe we take a breath and sit." "Back down?" Cage turned toward him, eyes wide, almost mournful. "Do you ever dream of escaping it?" he asked, voice low but intense. "Not the show, the machine, the endless grind." Colbert paused, visibly caught off guard. "Sure," he said softly, "but I don't destroy my platform while I'm on it." Cage stared at him, then laughed, a hollow, almost bitter sound. "That's because your cage is made of gold," he said. "Mine's made of mirrors." The metaphor hung in the air like smoke. At that moment, a stage manager approached from the wings and whispered to Colbert. With a nod, the host turned to the audience and said, "We'll be right back." The screen cut to a hasty commercial, but those in the audience saw everything. Cage refused to leave the stage during the break. He walked in circles, muttering to himself, waving off crew members who tried to coax him backstage. When the cameras came back, Colbert sat alone at the desk, offering an apology for the interruption and stating that the segment with Nicolas Cage would not continue. The audience groaned in disappointment, but a few applauded. Moments later, security was seen escorting Cage gently toward the side of the stage. He did not resist, but he locked eyes with the camera one final time. "Don't forget what I said," he declared. "This is not who I am, and it's not who you have to be." And with that, he disappeared behind the curtain. Colbert, ever poised, returned to the show with a tight smile and a weary sigh. Within minutes, the internet exploded. Clips of the confrontation surfaced almost instantly on social media, with hashtags like CageUncaged and Colbert clash trending worldwide. Fans were divided. Some hailed Cage as a truth-teller breaking through media facades, while others accused him of being unprofessional or unstable. Think pieces flooded blogs and news outlets, dissecting every word Cage had uttered on that stage. Mental health experts, media critics, and even fellow actors weighed in. A few industry insiders claimed that Cage had planned the moment, citing a history of theatrical behavior in interviews. Others argued it was a real-time breakdown, years of pent-up frustration boiling over in the least expected venue. Meanwhile, Colbert's team released a carefully worded statement thanking Cage for his appearance and wishing him well, sidestepping the deeper implications entirely. Later that night, Cage posted a video to his rarely used personal account. In a dimly lit room, he addressed viewers with a calmer demeanor. "Tonight, I said things that were raw and unscripted," he began. "I stand by the feelings, if not the delivery." He spoke about his complicated relationship with fame, the pressure to constantly perform, and the mental cost of being a public figure for decades. "We all wear masks," he said, "but sometimes the mask wears us." The video, though rough in production, was oddly poetic, and it garnered millions of views in hours. Fans began sharing their own stories of burnout, of feeling watched and misunderstood. A movement began brewing online, centered on authenticity and resisting the sanitized narratives of celebrity culture. Whether Cage intended it or not, he had become the face of something bigger. Colbert addressed the incident on his next episode with remarkable grace. "Live television is unpredictable," he said. "Sometimes it gets real in ways we don't expect." He expressed concern for Cage's well-being and noted that they'd had a good conversation afterward off camera. "We're all trying to make sense of ourselves, and sometimes that struggle bursts into the spotlight." The audience applauded, appreciating the candor. Colbert's choice to meet the moment with empathy rather than defensiveness earned him praise. He went on with the show as usual, but viewers noticed a shift. His monologue was quieter, his questions more reflective. Behind the humor, there was a clear acknowledgement that something important had transpired. The incident, far from being forgotten, had opened up a dialogue on vulnerability and the limits of performance. In the weeks that followed, other celebrities began sharing similar stories of breakdowns behind the scenes, of moments where the pressure of constant public scrutiny cracked their polished facades. Cage, for his part, stayed mostly out of the spotlight. Rumors swirled of a new project in the works, one that blurred the line between documentary and fiction, exploring the nature of fame through a meta-lens. Industry watchers speculated that his Colbert appearance may have been a deliberate act of self-liberation or even performance art. Whatever the truth, the moment had become cultural canon. University lectures, podcasts, and essays dissected every angle. Was Cage a martyr of modern celebrity, or simply a man pushed to his limit? Either way, his outburst struck a nerve in a society obsessed with image and increasingly hungry for truth, however uncomfortable. Years later, when asked about the incident in an interview, Cage smiled softly and said, "That night was real. And that's what scared people." He didn't elaborate, but the message was clear. In an industry built on illusion, his defiance was both a revelation and a rupture. Stephen Colbert, too, would occasionally refer to it as the moment the curtain slipped, acknowledging it as one of the most unexpected and strangely important episodes in his show's history. Though many tried to reduce it to a viral clip, those who watched it unfold remembered something deeper. A moment of unfiltered humanity on a platform designed to control every word. Whether you saw it as a meltdown or a manifesto, one thing was certain: Nicolas Cage had changed the rules, even if just for one night.